NBC 12 News at 11 starts now.
A rideshare driver is thankful to be alive tonight after a bullet shattered his sunroof while driving on I-64. Justin Tate says he was nearing the Laburnum Avenue exit when he heard a loud noise and found shards of glass in his lap. Where the bullet came from is still a mystery tonight. New at 11, Karina Bolster spoke with the driver, who is urging people to be responsible with their guns.
Well, just minutes before midnight, Justin Tate got a shock from above, later finding this bullet had gone through his sunroof.
That's where the bullet came through right there and hit the frame of the sunroof.
Just mere inches away from where Tate's head was.
Had it come over about an inch or so, it would have probably came right through here. Because the only thing that stopped it was that metal frame. Had that metal frame not been there, I don't think this little piece of cardboard would have stopped the bullet.
Tate was driving along I-64 near the Laburnum Avenue exit when he heard the sunroof shatter.
I thought somebody could have been shooting at the car, but I didn't see anything around. I was looking to check to see what broke out because I heard like air, and then once I saw no windows were busted out, I pulled the sunroof back and stuff just started falling down.
Tate says the gravity of the situation didn't hit him until he called 911.
When I rolled down my window on the side of the highway, I still heard gunfire behind me. It sounded like a war zone, and the guy said, you know, can you wait for officers? I said, absolutely not. I said I can meet him a little further up the road.
Henrico police took down the reported vandalism, finding the bullet near his center console.
I just look at it, I just have a flashback. So no, I don't really, I'm just glad to be here, to be honest with you. That's when the emotions set in for everyone, including myself and the officers. They were like, look, you're very lucky.
Lucky is an understatement.
It was right wild.
Especially for the man who has a photo of his daughter smiling back at him while he drives.
My luck, I felt like had run out after that. And I just checked on my family and just been spending a lot of time with family today.
Now, Tate urges people not to be careless with their guns, saying things could have ended much differently for him. On your side in New Kent County, Karina Bolster, NBC 12 News.
Glad he's okay. Thanks so much, Karina. Well, a quiet night as we take a live look across downtown Richmond tonight, but some rain may be on the way for the second day of 2020. Meteorologist Jim Duncan is in our First Alert Weather Center with a check of that forecast.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, Carla, but yeah, we have the mild weather continued today. It was in the 50s. Right now, we're still lower 40s here. It's colder in spots where there's clear skies. Hanover County Airport, 32. Petersburg, same reading, and up in Tappahannock, West Point, lower 30s, and then the 40s where there's been a little bit more of the cloudiness. But I think all of us kind of gravitate down toward around 32 degrees tonight. But looking ahead, we are looking at some rain tomorrow night. I want to look back briefly because it was a warm 2019. In fact, the third warmest year on record for Richmond, with our average overall temperature almost 61 degrees. Includes the highs and the lows spread out through the whole year. That's a pretty high average temperature. All of the major Virginia climate sites, which includes all the bigger cities, fell within the top 5 warmest records for the year. So that was an amazing year last year in terms of warmth overall. All right, coming up in your full First Alert forecast, let's talk about first with that rain coming in tomorrow night through Friday, maybe even to Saturday, then a tricky Tuesday forecast. Maybe a few snowflakes sneaking in here. I'll have more on your details coming up in a few minutes. Carla.
Uh-oh. All right. Thanks, Jim. Well, new at 11, a suspicious death investigation in Nottoway County. State police say a 69-year-old man was found dead at a home on Old Nottoway Road this morning. The Nottoway Sheriff's Office asked state police to take the lead on this case. No word why tonight. Well, the body was taken to the medical examiner's office in Richmond to determine the cause of death. Well, the new year is already off to a deadly start around the metro Richmond area, with 2 people shot and killed shortly after the ball dropped. New at 11, we're talking with neighbors shocked by the accidental shooting death of a young man in Verina. 24-year-old Jay Sean Brooks was shot at a home on Southbury Avenue around 4:30 this morning. He later died at the hospital. Investigators believe it was a tragic accident, though they have not yet released any information about the circumstances. Neighbors say Brooks lived at the home with several other young men.
That was nice. He was a nice kid. Yeah, he was real nice. All of them were real nice. But all I can say is just like this. You need to be careful with what you're doing with a gun. If you don't know nothing about a gun, you ought not mess with them.
Tonight, 24-year-old Savion Tyler of Richmond is in jail, charged with involuntary manslaughter. Meanwhile, a woman was shot and killed on Richmond's north side just minutes into the new year. A suspect is now in custody for shooting and killing Latia Hood on North Avenue just 13 minutes after midnight. Enzo Domingo joins us now with what he's learning about the victim from neighbors who heard the gunfire.
Now, what we know from police that at least one person was killed. Now, we spoke to neighbors who tell us that they heard a series of gunshots that initially concerned them, but it's when they heard the screams that they knew that something was wrong.
A sad way to ring in 2020 for the family of Latia Hood. Richmond police say the 28-year-old woman was shot on North Avenue. They responded just minutes after midnight, having to go through this fence around the back of one house, according to neighbors.
Heard a lot of gunfire, looked out the back door of my apartment, which is across the alley from where it was taking place. There were at least 5 or 6 people in the backyard. Probably could see someone with a pistol firing into the air.
This witness says the amount of shots going off last night was already a cause for concern. Meanwhile, a handful of witnesses tell me some of the gunfire sounded like it came from more than just handguns.
But there was a 9mm pistol, a .45 caliber pistol, and an AK-47 rifle. There was a lot of gunfire, though, and we'd actually talked about whether or not we should call 911.
But another neighbor did end up calling 911 for the same reason.
By the time we actually got patched through to 911, we came out the back door of the apartment, and somebody actually was screaming, "He got shot, he got shot."
He and his friend could actually see the muzzle flashes across the yard.
It was a nice, quiet night until all that started happening, and then after that, it had a very eerie feeling about it.
Investigators say Latia Hood was taken by a private car to the hospital where she died. Police later arrested 25-year-old Mateen Johnson of Henrico in connection to her death, and he now faces a charge of involuntary manslaughter.
Now, police say the investigation is ongoing, but if you do have any information on the shooting, contact Crime Stoppers at 780-1000. On your side in Richmond, Enzo Domingo, NBC 12.
Thanks so much, Enzo. Well, frightening moments for a Chesterfield police officer during a traffic stop along Midlothian Turnpike overnight. We're told just before 2 this morning that officer suspected someone of driving under the influence near Chesterfield Town Center. When the officer got up to the car and asked the driver a question, that man pulled out a gun and shot himself. We're told he's now in critical condition tonight, and the officer was not hurt. Well, the new year means Southside Regional Medical Center in Petersburg is now a Catholic hospital. Community Health Systems announced it completed the sale of Southside Regional to Bon Secours Mercy Health. Southern Virginia Regional Medical Center in Emporia and Southampton Memorial Hospital in Franklin are also now part of Bon Secours. Bon Secours operates 4 other hospitals in the Richmond area. And Bon Secours is also the latest employer to announce it is boosting the minimum wage it pays its employees to $15 an hour. The company says it will be a 2-year process. Bon Secours says the change will impact more than 8,000 employees in the U.S. Meanwhile, a minimum wage hike is on the agenda when the General Assembly convenes in 1 week. So is the budget and the debate over the governor's $135 billion proposal. All of that will pick up tomorrow. Now, that's because 4 public hearings will be held around the state. We already know some education groups plan to be there because they say teachers are being shortchanged by this proposal. Some gun rights activists plan to speak out against new gun control. The hearing gets underway tomorrow at noon at Reynolds Community College on East Parham Road. Well, some neighbors in Henrico's West End are starting the new year without some of their belongings. That's because a thief rummaged through multiple cars in the Oakley Point neighborhood off Pemberton Road on New Year's Eve, getting away with thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. AJ Nwoko spoke with neighbors about the crime that was all caught on camera.
Neighbors tell me if there's any silver lining, it's that the thief was captured on surveillance video. Now they hope it's enough to help police nab this crook. Same old crime, just a different year, and Henrico's Oakley Point neighborhood is finding out the hard way what happens when you leave your vehicles unlocked.
Turned on the car and noticed the dashboard was open, the glove compartment was open. Like, obviously somebody's been through my vehicle.
Joseph Steyer was one of the people hit during a string of New Year's Eve car thefts.
Wife's car was locked, untouched, no broken windows, totally fine. So, sort of on me for leaving the car unlocked.
Steyer is all smiles because he didn't have much stolen from his car.
Probably a couple dollars in change, not a lot.
But others weren't so fortunate. One person posting on the Ring doorbell app that their daughter's laptop and shoes were stolen. Another neighbor I spoke with says they had over $7,000 worth of valuables stolen from his car, and thousands more were stolen from another person he knows. One neighbor sent us a 25-minute surveillance video which appears to catch the thief in the act. You can see them approaching a Toyota Tundra. From another angle, the perp can be seen with the flashlight in hand getting to work on the interior. After no luck, they try a second vehicle parked in the driveway before moving out of the frame. A dark-colored car can be seen making its way out of the neighborhood.
This is the first time that we've had a large theft in excess of hundreds or maybe even $1,000, I believe.
Neil Cameron is Oakley Point Neighborhoods Association president, and while he encourages everyone to utilize cameras and exterior lighting, it's safest to just lock up.
People's actions are completely out of our control. The only thing that we can do is make sure that our homes are safe and that our possessions are, secure.
Henrico police echoing that lesson, urging everyone to lock up their vehicles and take their valuables out. Meantime, if you have any information, you're urged to call Henrico police at 501-5000. On your side, AJ Nwoko, NBC 12 News.
Thanks so much, AJ. New at 11, off the clock and still saving lives. How a doctor saved a dog from the clutches of an elevator. But first, the papal slap caught on camera. What Pope Francis is now saying about his interaction with one well-wisher. Jim?
And talking storm moving our way tomorrow night into the start of the weekend. Big one brewing down here in the Gulf Coast states. More on how it will impact our weather is coming up.
New at 11, the ex-partner of the late Bobby Christina Brown has died. Nick Gordon was just 30 years old. He was dating Brown, who was the daughter of singer Bobby Brown and the late Whitney Houston, when she was found unresponsive in a bathtub in 2015 and died after months in a coma. Her family blamed Gordon for her death. Gordon was never charged in the case, but he was found responsible in a wrongful death lawsuit. An official cause of his death has not yet been released. New at 11, Pope Francis is apologizing after this tense moment caught on camera. You can see a woman grab the Pope's hand before he swats her hand away. Now, the incident happened late last night while the Pope was making his way to the nativity scene at the Vatican City. Today, the Pope said he set a poor example.
Today, it was the Pope's turn to ask for forgiveness after this surprising moment in St. Peter's Square. Pope Francis greeting pilgrims when one woman grabs his arm, pulling him towards her, the Pope slapping her hand away. Today, a penitent Pope apologized during his New Year's Day homily. So many times we lose patience. Even me, and I apologize for yesterday's bad example, he said. It's not the first time the Pope has pulled back. In March, he was seen repeatedly yanking his hand away from some faithful who wanted to kiss his ring. Telling NBC's Claudio Lavanga at the time it was about hygiene. And last night, there was another surprise. After a child fell off the security barrier, the Pope turned around to check on him, giving him a pat on the head and a kiss. A touching moment for a Pope whose touch is coveted by so many. Pope Francis is known as a liberal reformer, a pope for the people, but these incidents where he pulls away have attracted criticism from conservatives who say that he turns up his nose at these traditional displays of devotion from the faithful. Matt Bradley, NBC News.
New at 11, Virginia may be trending blue, but a new poll suggests Democrats should not take the state for granted. Mason Dixon finds President Trump would beat every Democrat except Joe Biden here in Virginia. Biden leads Trump 49 to 45%. But the poll finds the president would prevail over Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Pete Buttigieg. Virginia's presidential primary is March 3rd. New at 11, the FDA is expected to announce a ban on most flavored electronic cigarettes. It's all part of an effort to tackle underage vaping. The Wall Street Journal reports the only exceptions to the ban would be e-cigarette pods that taste like tobacco or menthol. Users of tank-based vaping systems will also still be allowed to custom mix flavors. That's because those kinds of vapes are not as popular among teens.
We're going to protect our families, we're going to protect our children, and we're going to protect the industry.
Now, the announcement could come as early as Friday. A New Year's surprise slithered into an oven in a North Carolina home while a family was baking pizza. The Helms family accidentally cooked a snake, look at that was hiding in their oven. They had no idea the snake was even in there until smoke began pouring out of the oven. When they opened the door, they say they saw a snake sitting at the bottom below the pizza.
The oven started smoking, and I told my boys, back up so I can make sure, nothing's a fire or anything didn't happen. And I looked closely and I was like, oh my God, that is a freaking snake.
I was queasy and it was creepy. There's nothing good about finding a smoking snake in your oven.
No, it's not. The smoking serpent was definitely not on the menu for this family, so they threw away that pizza and simply ordered out. Caught on camera, a Good Samaritan's heroic rush to save a dog trapped by an elevator. The elevator doors had closed while the dog's leash was inside. Angie Andrews has more on what happened next.
Surveillance cameras caught the whole thing. You can see it here. The elevator doors closing on this dog's leash and the owner panicking, trying to free her pup. Through the doors, in walks Dr. Muhammad Awad, holding a plate of food. Then this. Boom. Awad throws his food, doesn't waste a second, jumping over and over, trying to pull the dog down. He even stumbles himself before finally snapping the leash free.
And in my head, I'm like, there's nothing else that you could do. I had to go help this dog. And it was all like slow motion timing.
We had the chance to catch up with Dr. Awad. He says he's grateful that he was the one there on Sunday night and that his instincts took over.
No one rehearses something like this. Obviously, it was dangerous for you, too.
Honestly, I wasn't really thinking about anything. I dropped all my food. I jumped to try to grab the dog, to try to break the leash. Initially, it didn't work out. I go back at it again. The dog is screaming. I'm like, oh my God, the dog has like seconds to live.
Luckily, in this fight or flight moment, he had the strength to snap the leash, and the dog tumbled to safety right on top of Awad's dinner.
Even though, I'm a human physician, I went and examined the dog. I touched his throat, I looked at it. The dog drank some water. I knew it would be okay.
And while Awad doesn't know the woman he helped or that pup personally, he'd do it again in a heartbeat.
I felt like anybody else in my position would have done the same thing.
Reporting in Tampa, I'm Angie Andrews.
Well, no reports of any new millionaires in the Richmond area tonight, but check your New Year's millionaire raffle tickets because at least one ticket sold around here is worth $100,000. But we can tell you someone around here, it could be $100,000 richer. Ticket number 139631 was bought at Food Lion on Courthouse Road in Midlothian. Another 500 tickets each won $500. Those winning numbers are posted on the lottery's website.
Accurate, reliable, breaking weather specialists. This is NBC 12 First Alert Weather.
Alrighty, we look at the conditions right now in Richmond. There's the skyline of Richmond still lit up for the Christmas season, and we have temperatures still above average. For this time of night, we typically would be down in the 30s. At least we are in many spots, but officially, at least in Richmond Airport, it's 42 degrees. Our dew point at 30. And a light westerly winds coming in around 6 miles per hour. These are the regional readings. As noted earlier, it is cooler in many spots. It's 32 in Hanover, Tappahannock, Emporia, Petersburg, all around the freezing point, South Hill. But for all of us, I think we'll probably dip down around freezing, maybe a little bit below that tonight, depending on how thick the cloudiness gets tonight. There you can see it over the southern part of the state, kind of building in well in advance of that storm. Now, this is a storm we've been talking about for a couple days that really hadn't even formed up till about 24 hours ago. It's down here along the Gulf Coast, and it is already starting to dump some heavy rain down here, and it will gather a circulation over the next 24 hours. At the same time, low pressure to the north will be moving north of us, and all of that energy moves east, and eventually low pressure develops east of New England, and that really is going to be a big storm as it moves east of the northeastern United States. All of that kind of unfolding over the next 3 days. So it's going to be a process as we move forward. Let's talk about weather for your morning commute. Tomorrow we're looking at around 32 degrees early in the morning. There will be some areas of fog around, I think, because the humidity is going to be pretty high. But no precipitation expected tomorrow morning. 56 will be the afternoon high, very much like what we had today. Not bad for early January, is it? 56 degrees, but we will have increasing cloudiness and rain chances pretty small during the daytime hours. Excuse me, but it will go up during the evening. After sunset, it ramps up pretty quickly. By 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow night, our rain chances go up to 60, 70%. So that is the next big thing weather-wise for us, tracking the increasing chances of precipitation. Not so much daytime hours tomorrow. This is 7 in the morning, noon hour, partly cloudy, maybe a little hint of sun. And then later in the day, that's when we start to see the rain slide in after sunset. Pretty good bet for rain tomorrow night as a warm front tries to lift through. This is 7 o'clock Friday morning. Good chance of light rain. A little break, maybe some breaks in the clouds, and then better shower chances into Friday night. And maybe even some rumbles of thunder. Nothing severe in terms of thunderstorms expected, but this showery pattern holds through Saturday about midday, and then we have some partial clearing coming in behind that. And it'll turn kind of windy as well Saturday afternoon and evening. So tomorrow, dry most of the day, rain at night. Rain mainly late in the day Friday and Friday night. Good chance of heavy rain out of that. Ends about midday Saturday, and then clearing skies. Sunday, Monday will be cooler. Maybe some flurries Tuesday. Probably would be more like some rain showers, highs in the mid-40s. More news comes back after this.
The NBC 12 Sports Desk is sponsored by Pearson's Signature Dealerships, home of the 2-time warranty on engines and transmissions.
Former NBA Commissioner David Stern has died at the age of 77. Stern led the league for 3 decades. During his tenure, the NBA's popularity exploded with stars like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant. Corey Wire looks back.
The NBA wouldn't be the league it is today without David Stern. Working his way up the ranks, Stern was the organization's first general counsel and took the commissioner's post in 1984. Stern had the good fortune of inheriting Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and taking over just before the arrival of Michael Jordan. But television revenues were low, and several franchises were in financial turmoil. So the new commissioner rolled up his sleeves and got to work. For the next 30 years, Stern presided over the league's skyrocketing growth. According to Forbes, the player's salary cap, which Stern helped to create, grew from $3.6 million to just under $59 million when he left office in 2014. Television revenues jumped from around $22 million to about $930 million. And franchise values from $400 million to $19 billion. A big part of Stern's strategy, marketing the league's superstars and making them global icons. Magic and Larry leading the charge in the 80s. Then Jordan in the 90s and extending well into the 2000s with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. The league took off globally under Stern's tenure, becoming the first professional sports league to play regular season games outside the U.S. and allowed its players to compete in the Olympics, beginning with the gold medal winning Dream Team in 1992.
You envision all that's going on now. Europe, China, big TV contracts, free agency, guys being able to, pick and control where they go. And he was a great man.
It didn't come without some growing pains. Stern presided over 4 player lockouts and angered some players with tough disciplinary decisions and the adoption of an unpopular sideline dress code. But his ability to adapt and grow the game over a 30-year span made him a titan of the sport. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2014, months after handing the reins over to his protege, Adam Silver.
The reason I'm here is because of thousands of people over the years who have done so much. You're responsible for it, and the league is in spectacular shape going forward under the extraordinary leadership of Adam Silver. Thank you for having me. Good night.
According to the NBA, Stern's death was the result of the brain hemorrhage he suffered roughly 3 weeks ago. We're back in just a moment. It's tumbleweed like you've never seen it before. Take a look at this. An invasion of tumbleweeds rolled through Washington State New Year's Eve. The tumbleweeds blocked this highway for 10 hours and trapped several cars. Snow plows were called in to clear the roads, and crews worked overnight to free the vehicles. Fortunately, no one was injured in this prickly mess. Wow. Or remember to wake up with NBC 12 to start your day with news stories, weather, and traffic conditions. Keep the channel right here for 12 News Today starting at 4:30 a.m. That does it for us at 11. Thanks so much for choosing NBC 12. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Happy New Year.